What's up, founders? Welcome back to the show. Today I've got a very special guest, Yogi Codes. Yogi Codes. Am I saying that right, or is it Jogi?
Yeah, that was fine. You're breaking up there. I don't
Oh,
know if we're still on, but yeah, that was perfect.
okay. Okay, perfect,
Now,
perfect.
now I can
So
see you again.
it does this thing where it'll probably lag a bit every now and then, but you can just keep going. Again, it's something I always
Okay.
edit and post. Um, yeah, so welcome in everybody. We have Yogi Codes on the show. Yogi, one of my first questions I love to ask people is what got you into entrepreneurship? When was that moment where you knew I want to go this way and be an entrepreneur? Because I don't think entrepreneurs are normal. So what took you down this path?
Yeah, for me it was kind of accidental. And I like to call myself the accidental entrepreneur in that way. Um, because, like a couple years ago, something happened and the world went crazy. You remember that thing? And I lost my job over that. And I did some reflections. And I was like, I don't want to end up in this situation ever again where I have to rely on something like an external hand feeding me, right? And where I end up in a situation because having a job is quite risky because you only have that one thing, right? And there's this guy who says risk means more things can happen than will happen. I forget who it was, but it's a quite a smart quote, right? Like anything can happen, and you lose your job. You're, I'm not going to say it, but it's not good for you, right? In that situation, particularly if you have a house and debt and stuff like that, it's tough for people. And I decided I don't want to ever be in that situation again where I have to rely on somebody else. I wanted to be independent. And so I started working for myself, right? And I didn't know what to do at first. So it was hard. But yeah, slowly but surely it's getting better. And yeah, it's awesome. I wouldn't go back ever. I think it's ride or die for me.
Really, I think that's how most entrepreneurs are. Like once you get a taste of the freedom, it's kind of
Mm.
hard to backtrack and go the other way where you don't have freedom and you have a boss, you got more responsibilities. Like it's much harder to go back to that once you've left it already.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, wouldn't be for me anymore. Screw that.
So, what are you currently building right now?
Yeah, so I've started. I go to the gym, right? I lift weights every now and then, and or like every day actually. And I I like to track my workouts, and I use pen and paper for that. And it's not ideal to do that, so I've started to make an app for that, where I can where the app does that for me, and it's kind of like a personal trainer also. Because if you wanna progress in that stuff, you need to do more and more all the time. You need to be better and better. You need to beat last week. You need to first of all you need to know what you did last week, right? So the next week, uh, you want to do a little bit better. It's called progressive overload in sports science. So if you did, I don't know, for your bench press, you did 160 pounds this week for 5 reps, then next week you want to at least match that or maybe improve a little, do an extra rep or add in 2.5 pounds, stuff like that. So if you add in 2.5 pounds, you can do the same reps, but if you run the same weight, you want to go up in reps. And so I thought it would be good to have an app where all that stuff is built in, right? Where the sports science is kind of built into it. And it gives you feedback immediately, gives you call to actions and things like that. Like it tells you when you messed up, and it also tells you when you beat it. So it's kind of like this dopamine thing, like gamifying it a little bit, right, to keep people on track. Because that's the biggest issue that most people have is to stay on track with this, right? Like if you look at the guys who look really good and really jacked, the big thing they have going for them is they work consistently working out
Yeah.
for years on end without taking a longer break. And for me, it was always the issue that like life happened and I had a situation where I couldn't go to the gym. I mean, this is a dumb thing to say. You always can go to the gym, right? But I just dropped it every now and then. And so now I've been training for a whole year uninterrupted. And that's what I look like, right? So a guy who trained for a whole year uninterrupted. But I've trained, what is it, like 7 years or something? So I should be much
Oh,
bigger
wow. So
and
you've been
should
doing the lifting for a while.
Oh yeah, for a long time, but you wouldn't notice because I don't look like it, right? Because every 6 months or so something happened. I lost it all, and you get it back quickly, but then you progress from the same state that you had before, and that isn't ideal. So I thought having the app for that to keep me honest, where I always take the logs and stuff, and I need to keep it going and nurtured and stuff, and that will help me. And I'm scratching my own itch there, so it probably might help other people too, particularly because I think it's going to be a really good product in terms of the knowledge it has, right? All the science is built into it. I originally was a scientist that, like, way back, and so that's kind of like, yeah, my pet peeve to, well, not pet peeve, that's not the right way of saying that, but I can
I get
combine the
what you
two things,
mean.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. To
yeah, I
like
get
do it
what you
right.
mean.
And like if most gym ads don't have that built in. They're like just trackers, and you don't know. You pick your own workout, and different people have different needs for working out, right? If you're a beginner, you grow from looking at weights pretty much the first year. You don't have to do as much. You can do a little bit, and that's it. But then later down the road, in years 1 to 3, you're becoming intermediate, something like that. And so you have to train a little bit harder. And then once you've trained 4 years uninterrupted, you need to do much better job at it, right? And you need to do more work. And so I'm building all this stuff in where it figures out what your training age is, and if you're progressing, and if you're no longer progressing, you'll have to do more stuff like that.
Oh, so you're using AI in your platform? Because I think AI is going to be a part of pretty much every software tool. But I think part of the
Yeah.
problem right now is everybody wants to use it so that they can say they're using it. But after we
Mhm.
get more experience with it, then it'll become more useful versus just saying,
Yeah.
hey, my app has AI. We're going to get to a point where it has AI features and it's actually a good feature and it's helpful to the user. I think that's where we're going.
Yeah, I thought about implementing something like that. Initially, I haven't got it. Right now, I don't have it. It's more like my knowledge that I have about training built into it, right? And that is based on the state of the scientific literature. But I think I will make sort of a chatbot that I'm training on the science, the literature, and like all the stuff that's out there, where people can then ask questions and the app will answer. Yeah, but that's for down the line. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about how to best do that, because you're right. Like, it's everybody does AI, and it's like a marketing thing, right? So I guess it helps with sales. It has to make sense though, right? It's just one thing.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the problem right now is everybody's trying to use it. Like people in no code, pretty much anything I see being built has AI mentioned somewhere in the process. And I don't think it's bad. I just think it's going to take a little bit more time for everybody to figure out their path of using that AI versus just
Yeah,
saying, yeah, we have AI for this platform. It's like, it has to be useful, man. Like whatever the model is, it has to be useful for the actual user. You just saying you have it isn't
absolutely.
really important.
100%. And you see that in
So
the successful products too, I think, right? Like they're very good at a niche thing.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I think the niching down of products like yours, where it's a fitness tracker, a fitness app. I think with niche products, like I have a project management tool that's for agency owners. For I
Hmm.
have a personal branding program for founders. It's like I think when you're more niche like that, you actually have an advantage because you can tailor it specifically to who you're talking to. So I think you just have kind of more freedom, honestly, when you're a bootstrapper and you're working towards a specific market. That's huge, man. So what's your bigger goal with your platform that you're building? Like, what's the long term ideal? Do you want to sell or do you want a X amount of users? Like what's the big thing you're shooting for?
Oh, well, I want users first of all. I mean, right now it's in development and it's not quite ready for. It's getting there, but it's not quite ready yet for test users. So what I want out of it is that people find value in it, and that it's a good app, right? And yeah, then I'm gonna see how I'll be able to grow it in terms of marketing it, because that's the big thing, right? To be able to market it, writing the product is actually not that hard, but I personally find selling stuff much more difficult, and doing the marketing aspect of
Really?
it. Yeah, 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 yeah.
that's just, it's so funny. I see the conversation on platforms like Twitter and even LinkedIn to a certain extent about building and about how you have to learn how to market. And it's always funny because I'm on the other side of that, where I'm more of a marketer and a salesman than I am a builder.
Uh huh.
Like, I didn't go to
Okay.
college to code. I never learned any of that. I'm like a marketing guy. So I always see it from the other point of view, where people are like struggling to market their products and don't know how to talk about them or get customers and stuff. It's so funny seeing it from the opposite side, man.
Right. Yeah. So with this one, I've done it differently this time around. I've done the building public approach from the beginning, and I'm going to expand it much more. And I can see there is some, like the homepage doesn't have anything on it, but there was traffic there already. Like people checked it out already, and a guy put down his email to become a test user already, right? So I never had that before where I did that, and I think that's helping. I also am starting with prior projects. I'm starting to understand how Google works with the SEO aspect of the thing, and I have some ideas about how I can, uh, yeah, like use leverage Google for that app, because there's some stuff you can do with the exercises. You can make a dictionary around it, or like, one of those dictionary websites for the marketing thing, where people can like look for exercises and muscle groups and like how to train. You can make that a little interactive and tool based. And I think I'm going to go that route because it seems to be a thing that works on Google. So yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. See,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
No, for
love
me,
that.
inherently, it's much easier to write the product. Like much easier.
So, how did you build the skills of building and like coding and stuff? Like, were you in college for it, or did you just sit
Mm-mm.
down and just learn it one day?
No, at my previous job, I needed to write something, and I like needed to write some code. I started like 10 years ago with Python to automate boring tasks, and I think I found a YouTube talk. It's automate the boring stuff or something like that. And the guy was talking about this, like how you can use Python to automate things. And I made a robot that would put my times into the timesheet every day, for instance, at work, because like I don't like chores, right? Like there's so much
Yeah.
overhead that you have to do. So I started automating the overhead slowly away so I can free up more time and do actual work. And then that carried over in my next job, where we had a peptide synthesizer, which was crap in terms of like making the instructions for it. It was really, really slow. Like it was Windows software, and it took like you put all your stuff in. It took 5 minutes for it to spit the thing out in the end. And it was just a text file that was instructing the machine what to do, like move robot from here to here, pick up liquid, now move from here to here, drop liquid, right? Like that's all it did. And it had like certain lines in the text file. I'm like, this can't be too hard to make this text file. Why does this take 5 minutes? And so I made a script, and that like was a Python script where you put in the sequences and it spat out the instructions for the robot. And that was much quicker. It was done in like a blink of an eye, right? It's still like you press the button to run it and you counted one in your head and it was done, right? So that was much better in
Hmm.
terms of productivity for us. And that's like the first time I really had a big code project to do. That was during lockdown when they didn't know what to do with me in my previous job. So I wrote it then and there, and I learned coding there, and I just kept going with it afterwards. And initially it was
Wow.
Python, and with Python websites like Flask-based stuff. Like Flask is a web framework for Python, and then now I'm doing JavaScript frameworks and things like that. So
So,
gradually,
how do
so
you
it
feel?
was just by doing. To answer your question, I was rambling a little, but yeah, over time, little by little,
Just doing that. I
yeah,
actually
every
hear
day.
that literally 50% of the time I ask people that question, they say,
Hmm.
I didn't go to school for it. I just learned it. And I love that. I love it. I feel like if I sat down and tried, I really could. But I also want to focus on my strengths of being able to market and sell. I think that's where
Right.
my strength is. So I don't want to kind of deviate from that. So how
Hmm.
do you feel about the no code movement? Right? Like where people are using just automations essentially to build different platforms.
I have no idea about it. To be honest, I can't tell you a
Really?
first thing about it. I heard about it, but I never looked at it. So
Oh
no, I
man.
no idea.
I think you
I
would love
don't
it.
I don't have an opinion even.
I think you would love it. It's just a way for people like me that aren't coders to to
Hmm.
kind of put products and put stuff together through automations and workflows and stuff, man. I love it personally because again, I just like that now everything is becoming so accessible to so many people. Like I love that
Right.
aspect of entrepreneurship now. You know,
How
like
do you
it's
build an app
so
without
different.
coding, though? Sorry. How do you build an app without coding?
Well, essentially, you can have like a bubble is probably I think which is probably the most popular platform in terms of no code. You
Yeah.
just have automations that set up and they work together. Some of them even have templates where you can honestly get some of these templates. You buy them for a couple $100 and set up your app and put some security on there, and then you can start marketing and selling. Like some of the templates are already ready made for you to just go and make money like that. It's
Oh, I
kind
see.
of
So you're
crazy how
you're
it
buying
is.
an app and then you're selling it onward. You're like a reseller. Is that how that works?
With the templates, in a way, yes, honestly. With the templates, because some people go in there and they'll make a template for project management or CRM or
Mm,
a DoorDash app, food ordering, food delivery, or whatever. And you can go and buy that and put your own brand on it, get a domain and stuff, and set up some security and accounts, and then start selling. Like it's that
cool.
easy now. So I like the freedom of it. I love that aspect.
Yeah, makes sense. And how do you do complicated logic in there? Like if you have to actually do stuff that isn't written yet.
Yeah, see, that's where you have to create like different workflows, and it takes some time to set those up. Data sets it can be really crazy. You can use APIs in there. APIs help me a lot personally. With one of my platforms, I hire developers. Me personally, I hired no code developers come in and help you with that kind of stuff, where it just
Ah,
gets
okay.
super complicated. So that
Mm,
saved me a lot of time, made me a lot of money because I didn't have to do that little stuff, and I could just focus on marketing. So again, I just think where
cool.
entrepreneurship is now, what being a founder is now, I love it because it's expanding a lot more. It's not just one thing. Like you have to have a bunch of venture capital funding behind you. Like those days are gone, man. You can start a company
Yeah.
tomorrow and have something really good. I love
Right. Yeah. That's true. If I can do it, anybody can.
that.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm with you because
Particularly with the AI tools, right? The tooling is incredible. Like if you have a question, like you need to fix something and you don't know how right away, you prompt it and nine times out of ten it spits out an answer that at least if you follow through with it will end you where you want to go. So it's good stuff. The GPT-4 particularly, but also the yeah, no, the Copilot. I don't know. I canceled that the other day, but GPT-4 is quite good, particularly for debugging. If you have a bug and you put that in there, sometimes it can actually make the function just from the you put the bug
yeah,
in, just a bug message, and it spits you back to function properly. And you're like, okay, you didn't even know this part. You inferred it. You're smart.
man, I
Yeah,
love that part too because I think now we reached a point where the AI is going to help a lot of people build even better platforms. It's insane. I know a guy
for
who's
sure.
working on some stuff for like hospitals and like helping people get bionic arms and stuff. It's crazy how fast this stuff is happening. We got about 5 minutes left here.
Okay.
What kind of people do you have interest in working with? I find that a lot of founders in our stages are like always looking for somebody to connect with. So, are you looking to find somebody in marketing or sales? Do you want some kind of team member that can help you build? Like, who are you looking for to connect with now?
Um, so at this point in time, I'm not really looking for anything like that. Because I think it is important that you at least try yourself at every aspect of the business. And if you then fail, fine, you might want to partner up with a marketer if you've tried marketing and you couldn't, right? But otherwise, if you don't do it yourself first, you don't know where it goes wrong if you need it later on, right? And
Yeah.
so I think like I have the tunnel vision. I would use both hands, but I'm holding a microphone here. The tunnel vision indie hacker approach to it for now, right? And then I think eventually the first thing I'm gonna want help with, to answer your question, when the time comes for it, is marketing, particularly around SEO and around ads. I think, yeah. So a good marketer that would help. I think to have, because I think that is the crucial part
Yeah.
and the one that I'm lacking the most. So that,
Okay. I find it funny that we're reaching that stage too where a lot of founders are like, nah, I don't want to really build a team right now. Because I remember when I first started learning about startups and all of this stuff like 5, 10 years ago, it was
mm,
so big about like you gotta have a team member, you need a co-founder, you need all of these things in place. And now it's like you can do so much on your own and make a lot of progress. I think having the wrong person too early could actually slow you down, to be honest.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Particularly with the tooling that's there, and I think if I would want a partner in this, that would be equity based, and then like I wouldn't want to hire people. I would want somebody who is as driven around it as I am. I think. Otherwise, with personnel, I'd rather build tooling for it that I can automate. Like with the OpenAI API, you can do a lot of stuff that
Yeah.
usually you needed humans for a couple of years ago, right? Like a lot of stuff you can do already. I've built some systems internally, in house, so to speak, um, where am automating a lot of stuff already for content production and things like that. And this is only going to get better, right?
Oh
So
wow,
yeah.
okay. Yeah, man, it's dope to talk to you and see what you have going on. I'm working on this show. I want to build a community of founders like you and me that are out here building
Mm,
things, solving our own problems, trying to help people. Like, I just think the more we can connect with each other, the easier we can all grow because I'm pretty sure somebody's going to need this app you're working on to help them track their workouts and stuff. Like, I think more
sure.
entrepreneurs need to take their health a lot more seriously, to be honest. That's a bigger conversation. But
Yeah,
yeah, man, thanks for being on the show. I appreciate having you.
absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Before we go, let the people know where they can find you and your platform.
So I'm Yogi Codes on Twitter. So that's JogiCods. And then the app is called Get Jacked. So if you just go to getjacked.app,
That's a
that's where
great
you
name.
get
I love that
that's
name.
where you
That's so
that's
good.
where you get jacked. If you stay consistent, not like me, learn from my mistakes. Consistently lift for years on end and you will get jacked, and use the app. Yeah. And I have right now, I don't know when you release this, but right now I have a email box on the landing page where people can type their email and I'll invite them as test users, and I won't charge during the testing, and then later on I don't think it'll be expensive either. Like I think I want to make it over the volume, but yeah, we'll see about that.
All right, man. This was great. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, thank you.